Hello and welcome back to all you gun-toting, golden gun handling, tea-bagging, first-person shooter crazy people. Welcome back to the channel. So yes, as you might have guessed, this video is going to be all about my favourite first-person shooters, not in any particular order as per usual with my videos, but I have tried my best to sort of squeeze in the ones that I really love and ones I remember from being young as well. So I do hope you guys enjoy this video. The reason for me doing this video is I think a lot of people, when you have Nintendo fans, they kind of think they're not real gamers, you know, they don't play proper hardcore games, and I have. I have played some hardcore first-person shooters in my time. May not be my genre of choice, but certainly there are some brilliant ones out there, so I want to give a shout out to some of my favourite ones. As I said, if you guys do like this video today, then please do click that like button, and obviously if you haven't already subscribed, then please feel free to do so, and comment, please comment, especially with this video. First person shooters I know is a big one, you know, people are very loyal to their FPSs, so do let me know if I've missed anything out. If you don't agree with anything, then let me know, I would love to know. So let's jump right into it. So the first one I'm going to talk about today is GoldenEye. Now, I have spoke about GoldenEye before, and I think a lot of you would probably agree it is a fantastic game. One of the first-person shooters that I ever played. Just brilliant. Oh, the 4-player in that was just crazy. So tough sometimes as well when you're playing like Man with the Golden Gun. So frustrating, but awesome. It was so good. I remember trying to complete the whole game on 00 Agent, and just, I know you probably feel my pain, but that Aztec level, oh my goodness, that was a tough one. That was so hard. I think I managed to complete the whole thing in the end, but oh yeah, a difficult one for its time. It really was. I remember as well, sort of in the facility level, you could glitch. You could go in one of the toilets, one of the cubicles. You could glitch it, so you could go back up the pipe or the systems above the toilets, and you could like sit in there in multiplayer and then ambush people. I just loved it. It's a great game, all round fantastic. Obviously it's rare, you know, so of course. Best weapon, I'm so many in that game. I'm probably going to say best weapon for GoldenEye is probably the RCP-90, which is like a high-powered like assault rifle, like orange, black and white. That's an awesome gun. Made such an amazing sound as well. The sound was incredible. So yeah, that's the first one on there. I mean, moving on from that and going back a bit in sort of time. Let's go back in time. For me was Doom. Doom is on here as well. I mean, I first played Doom when I was about 8 or 9 years old on a PC. And yeah, it was probably the first-person shooter I'd ever played. It was at a friend's house, and yeah, I remember playing it and just thinking how I'd never seen anything so violent at that age. I don't think we were meant to be playing it, if I'm honest, but it was so violent, so eerie. The sounds, even now, those sounds, like the sounds of the guns reloading and the noises of the monsters like coming for you as you go around a corner and stuff. It was really terrifying stuff, and just loved it. You know, it kind of, it's one of the games that got me hooked at a young age. You know, I wanted to know more about the gaming world, and it kind of sparked a lot of interest for me, Doom. So, but yeah, moving kind of on from Doom to a game that is very similar, and a lot of people don't say it's like a sequel to Doom, is Quake and Quake 2. Love them both. Brilliant games, similar to Doom, obviously, in many ways, you know, using that same concept. But for me, I think just a slightly, it ran better. It was a smoother game than Doom. Not in all aspects. Doom did clinch it in some areas. Even in sort of graphics wise, I think Doom did look better. But Quake was brilliant. Once again, that whole dark, foreboding corridors and that sort of thing. And I think the thing that really got it for me was with Quake was obviously the multiplayer. You know, that multiplayer aspect of it was just unreal. You know, it was so good. So fast paced as well for its time, and it was you know, a real tough one, especially when you're like playing people who were like pros, as it were. You know, they could have an esports for Quake. If they don't already have one, they might do. I'm not sure, but yeah, Quake's got to be on there. Got to be on that list. So sticking with that kind of like 90s kind of theme. Moving on to Half-Life. Now, I remember with Half-Life, one of my friends had quite an expensive and powerful PC for the time, and he brought it around to another one of my friend's house. We had a big sleepover, it took ages to set it all up. This is how you used to have to play back in the day, people. If you didn't have a PC, you'd have to bring it around to somebody's. And yeah, brought the whole thing around, set it up. I remember we had it on a really low resolution because it's the only way it could play, because Half-Life was just like massive at the time. And yeah, it was a great game. I didn't really get it, I think, at the time, but obviously going back and playing it now, obviously, you know, I understand it a bit better. But the atmosphere and the level design in it as well. Well, not only the level, but the character design as well. The way you could interact with characters was phenomenal. But that atmosphere of that like foreboding doom, you felt alone, you know, wandering around from room to room, and things would drop down above you, and the aliens would scuttle out, and it was a real eerie, very secluded game, I felt, but it just a wonderful one, you know, it really was, and you know, still a legendary game to this day, so it had to be on there, had to be on the list for me. Moving on to number 5. Halo. Now, as I say, no particular order, so don't shoot me, Halo fans. Halo's on there. It's one of my favourite games of all time, but certainly one of the best first-person shooters as well. I mean, for me, Halo, the memories of Halo, and I always talk about memories in my videos, you know, yes, obviously I want to talk about gameplay and that kind of thing and playability, but it's more the memories, you know, for me. That's really what I want to share with you guys and hear back on your thoughts. But for me, Halo, I remember playing it that first time. I remember hearing about Halo and thinking, there's no way you're going to be able to do this, you know, it's all lies. But when it came out, I remember playing it. I didn't have an Xbox, but I was playing it with my friends, and I remember dropping from an APC that first time onto the beach and getting into a Warthog, and just like the freedom of being able to go anywhere pretty much, with these, you know, ground troops shooting at you, and they were yelling and shouting and barking commands at each other, and it just, the interaction, the AI was just incredible. It just seemed so real to me. It was so immersive. Obviously, you know, you get into the Covenant ships later on as well, and the Flood. Oh my god, the Flood. That was terrifying in itself. You know, just those hundreds of those little bug-type alien creatures swarming. That was insane. You know, you really felt that fear, that urgency. It just brilliant. All round a fantastic game. And the story, obviously. I mean, you know, God knows it is a fantastic story. It's had its bumps in the road, but all round great. I'm trying to think of a favourite weapon, really, in Halo. There's so many, but I did love the needle. I love the needle. Obviously, you could charge it up. I just love those short fire bursts as well. But when you did the charge up and then just thousands of needles go into them, brutal, but loved it nonetheless. Going back again to the N64, as I do, Turok. I mean, I talk about Turok more than probably any other game, but it was the first person shooter that I owned. And once again, I mean, God, that was brutal. You know, from the dagger that you start with, the way he holds that dagger and like stabbing people in the neck with it and watching the blood spurt out. You know, all the way up to, you know, the grenade launchers, the triple rocket launchers you could get. I think that was in Turok 2, but it was just over the top madness. And the noise, I mean, don't get me wrong, the soundtrack in Turok was terrible, but the actual noises from the NPCs, from the dinosaurs, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. And the bosses, I mean, I'd never fought bosses on that scale before, and they were huge to me at the time. You know, you had these alien creatures, you had dinosaurs, guys riding dinosaurs that had guns on them. It was just insane. It really was. There's not a lot of story to Turok. It's good versus evil. You do a bit of jumping and you collect a few keys, but all in all, you go around massacring people in lots of different and creative ways. Brilliant. You know, when I was sort of 13, 14, what more could I want? Turok 2 obviously then brought in the multiplayer aspect, which was just fantastic once again, you know, really good. But the single player for me was really what held up. It was awesome. So yeah, we'll leave Turok. And we'll move on a little bit to the big one, COD. So okay, just don't all like unsubscribe from the channel for this, but I'm not a big fan of COD. I don't know why. I don't know why. First-person shooters, as I say, is not my genre, as it were. But COD, especially for me, I just don't really get it. I don't get the hype. I've played quite a few CODs through the years, and it's just never really done it for me. But saying that, you know, I know a lot of people love it, and I respect that. You know, I really do. And you know, you COD fans, and you're unreal. You really, really are. But for me, there is a COD that's on the list, and that was COD 3. It was the first COD I'd ever played, and I know people will be like, what? You know, I know there's loads of other ones, but I just loved it. I loved it at the time. I said I'd never played a COD before, and it was a fantastic story set in World War II. You know, it really set the scene so well. It was dramatic. You know, I remember it felt like it was a film almost. You know, it was very, very dramatic, and just a perfect little adaptation, I suppose, or a little snippet of World War II, and it was really well. It was really well done. It was believable, and just enjoyed the whole game. There have, as I say, there have been other CODs that I've enjoyed parts of, but I'm more of a story kind of guy. You know, going around in multiplayer and shooting people, that's great in some respects, but as I say, I've just never really been a big follower of it. But COD 3 definitely for me deserves to be on that list. So from that to probably something that you'll now find hilarious, the fact that I don't like COD, but this is on the list of first-person shooters. Now, I know this is not a first-person shooter. It is a shooter, but it's my list, so it's going on there. It's Splatoon and Splatoon 2. We're counting them as one. So I'm sorry if you're laughing now, but I love Splatoon. There are so many aspects of Splatoon I love. I mean, I never thought I would. When I first saw this new IP coming out, I was like, nah, it's not for me. But when I first played it, my God, is it addictive. It is just crazy addictive. I don't know how many hours I've put into that game. I've literally fallen asleep with the controller in my hand. It's so good. It's fun. You can play it with the kids, you know, it's kid friendly. And I know, yes, you're not using real guns, it's paint, but there's something about it that just captures me. It really does. The online multiplayer is insane. You know, there's people in there that are crazy good, but there's something about getting your little squidlings together and, you know, having your team and going up against people. It's just brilliant. And obviously the customization nowadays for your characters is really good as well. You know, you can really sort of make it your own. So I know it's not a hardcore FPS. It's not even an FPS, but I love it. And it's going on there as a side note. So you have to deal with that, I'm afraid. So we're down to our last two now. I promise I won't keep you guys much longer, I really do. Bulletstorm. If you haven't heard of it, Bulletstorm. So on the 360, that's where I play Bulletstorm. Now, it got slated when it first came out for kind of taking the mick out of first-person shooters, which it sort of did if you play it. It's a great game. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It's a bit like a builder's yard in some respects. The actual story is very non-existent. It's a lot of swearing and a lot of violence. It's kind of like not grown up, but it's kind of like a modern version of Turok in a way, I guess you'd say. It's all out gun-toting madness and violence. The weapons are insane, and I think for me, I think that's kind of what makes a first-person shooter. I find while I'm sort of going through these is the ingenuity of the weaponry. You know, I'm not one for kind of a standard rifle or a sniper rifle. I want a sniper rifle that can bend around corners and stuff. You know, I'm that kind of guy. So yeah, Bulletstorm is a fantastic game, a really good looking game as well, a really good looking game. Even if you play it back now, it still stands the test of time. It looks fantastic. Yeah, you're not going to get 100 hours worth of gameplay out of it, but it's awesome. It's quick to finish, it's simple to play, you can pick it up, and it's awesome. It is awesome, so certainly give it a go. If you haven't got it, you can pick up Bulletstorm for next to nothing, so do give that a try. I certainly advise it. Many wouldn't, but I do. do. Now, the last one on my list today, as I say, it's no particular order, but is Perfect Dark. Now, Perfect Dark, in a way, it kind of did what Quake did for Doom, Perfect Dark did for GoldenEye. GoldenEye will always be my number one, I would say. It'll always be my number one FPS, but Perfect Dark kind of took that, shined it up a bit, set it in the future, chucked some aliens in, gave you more weapons, and much more variety in the multiplayer, and there you have it basically. Yeah, I mean, I love Perfect Dark. The story, you know, once again, you're an agent, but it's, you know, it's kind of like a government conspiracy with aliens and that sort of thing, but it's brilliant. It's so good. Great characters. Great voiceovers for an N64 game as well, really great voiceovers. And I played it over and over, but mainly the multiplayer. It really was. I mean, go, you get 4 mates round and play multiplayer. It was just an absolute all-out war. It really was. And the first time I really played with like NPC players as well, and that kind of blew my mind at the time. Not only was I fighting 4 of my mates, I had 4 other NPCs running around trying to kill me as well, and you could set each NPC of different things. So one would be like suicide, the other one would be a coward, and just brilliant. And the weapons, once again, sci-fi weapons, lasers, and just a brilliant game. Not so much the Xbox version, if I'm being honest. It didn't really do it for me, but if you haven't played Perfect Dark, go out, pick it up on the N64 and give that one a bash. It is awesome. So good. So that's kind of it today, guys. I'm not holding out on the news, I promise you that. Things are a bit quiet at the moment in the world of news. There's a lot of great games coming out at the moment, don't get me wrong, but I'm just holding out for some bigger news. So we will get back on track, but just want to give you guys, another little top 10 of mine. So I hope you have enjoyed. Obviously, as I say, please leave comments, guys. I'd love you to bits. I do enjoy reading your comments, so please do. And once again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, guys. Lots of love. Bye now.